Thanks for finding my channel. This is my backgammon learning journey, which I want to share with you because it's the best game ever. So let's go under the backgammon microscope. This is just a friendly 5-pointer at home. Apologies for the lighting. It makes the red checkers top right look like they might be white. They're not. This move here is just an illustration of the fact that it's very early in the game and I've just rolled on without even thinking about it. Now if we look at this board here, I've got a lot of good rolls. Twos, ones, twos make a home board point, also hit, ones hit, sixes hit. And although I'm not up in the race, I do have a slightly better home board already. And actually XG is telling me this is a double and it would be a take. But what I'm really just taking from this is how it's so easy to miss cubes when it's early in the game, because I'm just not tuned into looking for them. Certainly not at 1-0 in a race to 5. And I should be, because every pre-roll decision, it is a cube. You've got to think about the cube. It can be very brief. It can be totally obvious that it's not a cube, or you might have to think about it. You can only cube if the cube's in the middle, or you own the cube, of course, and sometimes you won't get that decision because it's Crawford or your opponent holds the cube. But it needs to be part of your pre-shot routine, and probably worthwhile taking a couple of seconds out of your 12 seconds clock time to just go, might this be a cube? And it might not take very long. You might go, okay, it's not a cube, and just move on. But here I didn't do it, and I missed a cube. Not a huge error, it's a double blunder, but could have been avoided. I could have looked at that and gone, got a lot of good rolls here, actually. I've got a slightly better home board. It might be a cube. No, I might have still got the decision wrong, but it needs to be part of the pre-roll routine. Right, a couple of moves later, I've rolled 5-4, and I am now doing something I seem to do quite a lot, which is I'm obsessing over the 3 blots I've got in my outfield on my 9, 8, 7 and 7 points, and I'm thinking how to tidy them up. I end up playing that, which does tidy a couple of them up and seems to be a logical play, but it's actually missed a third alternative, which is even better. That's the play I did. It's not a blunder, it's an error, but the correct play is to hit and make an inboard point. Obviously a logical thing to do. I did notice actually early on in the proceedings that I could have made the bar anchor, but I did turn that down correctly because that would have been a .238 blunder. So basically what's happened here is I've got a bit obsessed with tidying up the loose checkers, which is not in itself a bad thing, but it's taken me away from what I needed to be looking at, which was being positive and hitting in my home board. I actually thought to myself, oh, I've correctly noticed making the 3-point when I was concentrating elsewhere, and sort of patted myself on the back for that. But actually, of course, I could have gone even further and made an even better play. Right, still in the same game, and I'm going through my usual cluster of bad plays. I played this very quickly, 4-1. Decided to just tidy up because it looks so neat, and I probably did consider the hit, but I didn't do it. And I seem to have this reluctance to hit in my home board, particularly if I can't cover. I don't know where this comes from, because there are other times when I do get it right and I do hit. Maybe it's because the other move looks so obvious and I know I'm ahead in the race, and it's just a natural conservatism to not want to push the boat out too far. But in backgammon, you have to do the correct thing every time if you're going to win more often. The correct thing to do here is to hit that blot, move your checker from 9 to 8, and that leaves you 6 away. You're much more likely to cover that blot with 6 away, because there's 17 ways of doing it. If red misses from the bar, you're in great shape because you can hit. You've got that 6 to cover, or you've got hits on the other side of the board. Even if you get hit here, it's not really the end of the world. You've just got to weigh up the pros and cons, and a hit here is really obvious. I'm actually surprised it's not a bigger error than it is. It was a double blunder, and I thought it might be more on reflection. But I've just got to curb this desire to not hit loose in my home board. I mean, it's not always the right thing to do, but here it clearly is. Okay, this one's actually my opponent's mistake. But one of the good things about backgammon, when you analyse a match, is you get to see your opponent's mistakes as well, and can learn from those if you're prepared to look for them. This is a case of the situation's quite dire, and this is a case of my opponent actually wants to be hit. If he plays 24 to 22, this is good for him. The reason it's good for him is it forces me to hit him if I roll a 1. Also, if I then roll 2 high numbers, I'll leave a checker exposed, and that gives him an extra way to hit it. It's quite simple, really, but it's easy to miss because we're so tuned in to not putting checkers where they can be hit if we can avoid it. But on this occasion, White's position, as you can see, is pretty dire. He's probably not going to win anyway, but he's actually got a 1 in, well, 20% chance to win if he plays 24 to 22, and it reduces his chances of being gammoned and backgammoned, which is why it's a 0.22 blunder to not do that here. But an interesting position, and one that many beginners and intermediates might miss if they don't look at it in enough detail. Right, we're at the end stage of the match now. I'm leading 4-0 Crawford, and I'm about to bear off in a very strong position, and decide to stack on my points on the 8 point, thinking I'm clearing from the rear, which I am, but assuming that was the right thing to do. But I haven't thought about something quite important. If I stack them all on the 8 point, what happens if I now roll a 6? I might well end up being forced to hit that checker on the 2 point and not cover it. And the trouble with that is that White's home board is very strong. So if White gets to hit me, this game could flip round very quickly. So that protocol clear for the rear is often correct, more times than it isn't probably. But on this occasion, I don't think it is. I think it's better to play 8 to 3. Well, actually, he says it is. It's only a small blunder, 0.089, to do what I did. But looking at it in retrospect, I can see why. So just keep your eyes on the ball when it comes to preparation for bearing off, because it's not always as straightforward as it looks. So it ended up being quite a fast match, which I won 5-0. But as ever, it was very informative, a lot of fun, and I learnt quite a lot, and I hope to see you next time.